Let's talk about what happens when a fundamental question of who we are gets tangled in the nitty-gritty of a government funding bill. We're days away from a potential shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. Not because of a dispute over dollar amounts, but over principles, accountability, transparency, and the very nature of law enforcement in a democracy. The deadline is February 13th, and at the center of this storm is U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. Following the tragic shootings of American citizens in Minneapolis by federal agents, Democratic leaders in Congress are saying, no more blank checks. They are threatening to block funding unless there are, in their words, dramatic changes and real accountability for how ICE operates. Today, we're diving into what those demands are, why Democrats see this as a non-negotiable line in the sand, and what a shutdown would really mean. First, let's understand the stakes. A DHS shutdown wouldn't just affect ICE. It would hit the Transportation Security Administration. Think airport security lines grinding to a halt. It would hit the Federal Emergency Management Agency, even as communities recover from severe winter storms. It would hit the Coast Guard. Democrats are acutely aware of this pain. They're not shutting their eyes to it. But their argument is this: the pain caused by a temporary operational slowdown pales in comparison to the harm caused by what they describe as a pattern of unconstitutional, unaccountable, and brutal enforcement tactics. As Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer put it, when Americans see images of masked agents, of violence, it looks reminiscent of dictatorship. This funding fight, for them, is a last-ditch effort to impose what they call common-sense guardrails. So, what exactly are they demanding? Democratic leaders, Schumer, and House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries have laid out a 10-point plan. Let's group these into two big themes: transparency and restraint. On transparency, three key demands stand out. 1. Ban the masks. Democrats are insisting that ICE agents be prohibited from wearing face coverings. Their argument is simple: anonymity breeds unaccountability. As one Democratic lawmaker pointed out, your local police officer doesn't patrol in a mask. Why should federal immigration agents? They believe removing masks is a basic step toward ensuring officers can be identified if misconduct occurs. 2. Mandate clear identification. Coupled with this is a demand that agents prominently display their agency, unique ID number, and last name, and verbalize it if asked. This is Police 101, they argue. 3. Body cameras, for accountability, not surveillance. There's actually some bipartisan agreement here on deploying cameras. The existing bill already includes $20 million for them. But Democrats are emphasizing that the footage must be used to hold agents accountable, not to create databases tracking protesters exercising First Amendment rights. The second major theme is restraint, placing clear legal and operational limits on enforcement power. The biggest fight here is over judicial warrants. Currently, many immigration arrests are made using administrative warrants, which are internal documents signed by immigration officials. Democrats want to require a warrant signed by a judge, particularly to enter private homes. They argue this is a bedrock Fourth Amendment protection against unreasonable search and seizure. They also want to end so-called roving patrols that target people in streets and communities. They demand an end to racial profiling, and they insist on designating sensitive locations like schools, churches, and hospitals as off-limits for enforcement actions. In essence, they are trying to write into funding law a principle that ICE should operate with the same basic rules and visibility as local law enforcement. So why is a deal so elusive? Why is Senate Majority Leader John Thune calling these demands an impossibility and unrealistic and unserious? The Republican counter-argument hinges on officer safety and operational necessity. On masks, GOP leaders like Speaker Mike Johnson point to the doxing and targeting of ICE agents. They argue that forcing identifiable agents into volatile situations makes them targets for harassment and violence. The mask, in their view, is a necessary shield. On judicial warrants, the pushback is even fiercer. Republicans say this would cripple enforcement. It would add, in Johnson's words, an entirely new layer of bureaucracy that would make it very difficult for ICE to enforce the law. They see administrative warrants as a vital, efficient tool. And there's a fundamental political disconnect. Many Republicans view these demands not as reform, but as an attempt to functionally defund or handcuff immigration enforcement. Senator Katie Britt dismissed the list as a ridiculous Christmas list of demands for the press. So we're at a standoff. Democrats say they will not vote for another short-term funding patch without these reforms. Republicans say the reforms are non-starters. The clock ticks down to February 13th. But this isn't just about masks and warrants. If you listen to the rhetoric, this is a proxy battle over something much larger: the role of federal law enforcement in a polarized society and the boundaries of presidential power. Democrats are responding to a deep-seated fear that under the Trump administration, ICE has become, in effect, a politicized paramilitary force, operating with a lack of transparency that would be unacceptable in any other police agency. The shootings in Minneapolis weren't an isolated incident to them. They were the tragic culmination of a pattern. They're also making a federalism argument. They point to situations where state investigators were blocked from examining federal agents' actions. One of their demands is to preserve state and local power to investigate potential crimes by these agents. It's a power struggle between D.C. and the states. For Republicans, this is about defending the executive branch's authority to carry out immigration law, a top-tier priority for their base, without what they see as micromanagement by a Congress controlled by the opposition party. Schumer says he's astounded the GOP finds these demands unreasonable. Thune says negotiating them in a week is impossible. Both sides are now essentially betting on who the public will blame if the TSA lines snake through airports next week. So where does this leave us? Some Democrats have floated a last-ditch idea: split the DHS bill, fund TSA, FEMA, and the Coast Guard, but separate out funding for ICE and Border Patrol. Republicans have immediately rejected this as unworkable, arguing the agency's functions are too intertwined. Republican leadership has suggested another path: a full-year continuing resolution. Just punt the entire fight for another 9 months. But top Democrats are giving a hard no to that, fearing it would simply greenlight the current tactics indefinitely. What we're witnessing is a rare moment. Appropriations bills are usually about how much to spend. This one has become a vehicle for a profound policy overhaul, because one party believes the status quo is constitutionally and morally bankrupt. The question for the next week is, in a standoff between operational continuity and fundamental reform, which side blinks? Or does no one blink, and we learn what a Homeland Security shutdown actually looks like in 2026? This is more than a spending fight. It's a fight over visibility, over checks and balances, and over what we tolerate in the name of enforcement. As one Democratic senator framed it, we're not asking for anything else than what our local, state police already do. Is that an unreasonable demand? Or is it the bare minimum we should expect from any agency that wears a badge and carries a gun in the United States? The deadline is February 13th. We're about to find out. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What's more important? Ensuring absolute operational flexibility for immigration enforcement, or mandating the same accountability we demand from every other police force? Thank you for watching.